Welcome back to the Tan and J Man Show live on ISC Sports Network. It is a beautiful September 9th day. Football, and football. It's a great time of year. How you doing tonight, Tana, man?
Doing pretty good, Jay, man. It is amazing what football just does to my overall attitude and I just feel better, even though I will say my attitude was a little down yesterday, a little frustrated, typically from like 4 o'clock to 7:30 ish. But it was good Friday, good Saturday. It's back to being good today because it's a new week. So NFL's back, college football, wild week 2 that we'll get into. And yeah, man, temperatures starting to cool off a little bit, even though it looks like it's going to heat back up, at least here in Indiana over the upcoming weekend. But I love the fall weather. So yeah, football's back. It just makes life better.
Yeah, it's a fun time of year. You have baseball playoffs coming up here.
That too.
Yeah. Then football. It gives us something to do on weekends. I've been so bored for a while. Luckily, we got to scratch that itch a little bit with college football 25 and been able to play that. So it's helped at least transition from mid-July to now and keep us occupied anyway, football-wise.
No, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. And a lot of the country, me not so much still, is into the WNBA right now more so than ever. And those playoffs are starting, I think, relatively soon here. So, yeah. Yep. Well, I got some birdie or bogey trivia with me for you this evening. NFL question. I'm really hoping you haven't seen it yet, but if you did, that's just how the cookie crumbles. I don't know. This was tough for me to find one tonight, and actually, my dad assisted on this one, so I can't take all the credit. But which team set an NFL record this weekend by playing its 42nd straight game without losing by more than 6 points?
Wow! Without losing by more than 6 points?
Correct.
That's a good question. I have not seen it. I will go on record and say that. So I got a 1 in 32 chance, which is, I think that's about.
Don't even try.
I don't know.
I should know. Saying there's a chance.
I think it's a. Nope, not even going to try. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House is upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere, located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. After Labor Day, which we are after Labor Day, they will be open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 4 to 9 on Thursdays, 4 to 10 on Friday and Saturday, closed Sunday through Tuesday. Over the weekend, they had their special dill pickle pizza. So go get some specials because I know every single week their special looks good.
Yep.
August 31st, they had prime rib. So pizza prime rib.
You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. And to answer your question, the percentage chance you have 1 in 32, it's 0.03125.
0.03125. I should know that from work, but I could not remember off the top of my head.
I was like, I thought you were just ribbing me there that you knew what percentage that was. So
164 is 0.0156. That's all I got for you.
You use math more every day than I probably do. So I guarantee you use more math than I do. So
and the teachers were lying to us when they said we wouldn't have calculators.
It's this little device right here. Always in our pocket.
Yep.
But before we dive into this college football and NFL, do you want to get educated really fast? All right. Let's talk about some sporting events that have happened on this day on September 9th throughout the history of time. Let's see here. We're in the 40s. Nothing too significant yet. On this day, 1945, Jimmy Fox hit his 534th career home run. It'll be his final home run.
He was a slugger, that's for sure.
A lot of U.S. Open tennis. On this day in 1960, the Denver Broncos beat the Boston Patriots 13-10 in the American Football League's first game before 21,597 fans at Nickerson Field in Boston. On this day, 1965, LA Dodgers future baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Sandy Koufax threw his fourth career no-hitter and first perfect game in a 1-0 win over the Chicago Cubs at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, Cubs went from that moment all the way clear to 2015 without getting no hit when Cole Hamels did it.
On this day, 1970, MLB Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, I don't know.
Bowie Kuhn.
Yeah, suspends Detroit Tigers pitcher Denny McLain for carrying a gun. On this day, 1971, NHL great Gordie Howe retires for the first time after 25 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings. Wonder how long his first retirement lasted. Don't know. Man, a lot of tennis. On this day in 1987, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics began an NBA free throw streak of 59.
On this day, September 9th?
Yep.
Are they playing September 9th?
I don't know. I'm just going with what the website says.
Okay.
Also, on this day in 1987, MLB pitcher Nolan Ryan struck out his 4,500th batter.
Going to Nolan Ryan real quick. Everyone said he threw 100 miles an hour. Back then, their guns were not overly accurate. In fact, one game he had where his lowest fastball was 88 miles an hour and his highest fastball was 106 miles an hour. So it's probably somewhere in between. He probably sat like 95 to 97, which is really fast back then. Might have hit 100 a handful of times, but he wasn't sitting 100.
On this day, 1991, Mike Tyson in the news for negative stuff. I'm not gonna read on air, but imagine that.
It's a weekly occurrence.
On this day in 1991, only 1,695 fans watched the Red Sox play the Cleveland then Indians. That's higher than the White Sox average anymore. On this day in 2002, Randy Johnson, the Big Unit. That's got to be one of the best, if not the best, sports nickname.
That's a cool one. Yeah, 6'10".
Yep. Reached 300 strikeouts for the fifth consecutive season, extending his major league record. That's
crazy. I don't think that record's ever going to be touched. I think it'll be a shock if somebody strikes out 300 again, honestly.
On this day, 2018, the Green Bay Packers started their 100th season with an historic 24-23 comeback win over the Chicago Bears at Lambeau Field. First ever Packer recovery from a 17-plus point deficit. It was 20-3. After three quarters, it was the first time ever they'd come back.
Okay. What year was that?
2018.
Why don't I remember that?
I think it was a Sunday night game to start the year. And then they came back. On this day in 2021, Tom Brady became the first player in NFL history to start 300 regular season games as he guided the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to an opening day 31-29 win at home against the Dallas Cowboys.
Did you see any of his debut yesterday? I know
I watched Red Zone, and I was watching Broncos and Red Zone yesterday. So, no.
He was bad.
I heard he was average.
It's kind of funny though, because he has this ownership stake in the Raiders.
Right.
The NFL told him he cannot go into any other facility to like interview players or do any of that. So he had no prep work. And
that makes it pretty tough.
Yeah, that makes it real tough. Joe Davis, who's a Fox guy, said that's where you get all your info. So
that's gonna be uphill climb for him then.
I think Fox screwed up for one, getting rid of demoting Greg Olsen to the number 2 slot for old Tommy. But we will see.
Yeah, we'll see if it gets better over time. We'll see. But that will do it for this week's On This Day segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them on Instagram and on Facebook at Mooney Woodcrafts is their handle on Instagram. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your first signed order. It is September 9th. I can't stress this enough. Christmas is going to be here before you know it. So get your sign orders in. Great wooden sign would make the perfect gift for Christmas for anybody in your family or a friend.
Yeah.
All right, J-Man, what do you want to cover first, NFL or college football?
I say we do college football first.
College football. Week 2 is a little crazier than week 1. We had a few matchups that were more intriguing than week 1 across the board, I'd say. And we saw some upsets with the biggest, the wildest one being Northern Illinois, the Huskies. 28-point dogs going into number 5 Notre Dame to play them at Notre Dame Stadium. Pulls off a shocker. A 16-14 win, giving the program their first ever top 10 victory and top 5 victory. Pretty crazy.
That was pretty wild. This is what happens when you kind of neglect the quarterback position. I know they picked up Riley Leonard. Never been a strong thrower. He wasn't at Duke. He can run a little bit. They had Sam Hartman last year and it went a lot better for him. But scoring 14 points against Northern Illinois and then attempting a very, very long field goal. I forgot how long was that field
62.
goal? 62, that's right. When he had already gotten blocked on a 40-something earlier in the game. That might just be a testament to Riley Leonard's arm. They didn't think he could throw it that far to the end zone for Hail Mary.
How about the backup? If you got backup with more arm strength,
that's a good point.
Teams do that, even though you bring in a guy with cold arm, but
still, yeah, if he had better arm strength. Marcus Freeman can beat the good teams, and it seems like they kind of play up and down to their competition. Yep. Of course, 2 years ago they lost. It was Marshall at home.
Marshall,
right?
After losing to Ohio State on the road, he started 0-2 in his career.
That's right. And then that same season they lost to eventual 3-9 Stanford.
Yep.
So I know the natives are starting to get a little restless there, which I don't really blame him. He has a really good defense, but offensively they have really struggled, really the first 2 weeks.
Well, even his defense at times the other day could not get off the field on third down when they really need to. And credit to Ethan Hampton. I know he's been a running joke on this podcast just because good friend of the show, Evan Webb, that's his team in our what started as a Maction dynasty. And Northern Illinois has been his team. And all we're hearing about for weeks, Ethan Hampton. I thought Ethan Hampton played pretty darn good Saturday. He made some big-time throws.
Yeah. Evan Webb will be joining this show next week.
Yes.
So I'm sure he'll give his thoughts on Ethan Hampton.
Yes. And Northern Illinois, they creeped into the top 25, and then the AP poll at 25th, and Notre Dame fell to 18th. A lot of people thought Notre Dame would fall all the way out.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see Northern Illinois make it's not their debut historically because they went to a BCS Bowl with Jordan Lynch back in the day in 2013, and they've had some good teams here and there. But I was looking at their schedule today. I'm like, who do they play next week? Well, they have a bye this week, so I don't know if that's good or bad. What do you think? I mean, you're riding off hot, but it could be good to kind of get level-headed again.
Get to kind of level out a little bit because I mean, you are very, very susceptible to a letdown, especially after winning at number 5. But at the same time, it's like, man, you want to ride this high and keep going as long as you can. So now it feels like you lost a little bit of momentum. So it's kind of a catch-22 in a sense. I think I'd rather just keep playing. A week 3 bye seems like it would not be very fun. You just start the season. I mean, you guys saw it this week, week 2, Purdue. You get a taste of football, and then they're off a week, which would not be very fun. But
and Northern Illinois does have another. I mean, they have Buffalo in week 4, but then week 5 they travel to NC State. So we'll see if they can do it again. NC State's not ranked anymore. They were going in this past week. They lost to Tennessee.
Demolished at Tennessee.
Looks really, really good so far, 2 weeks in. But, Irish fans, it's interesting. Marcus Freeman's a good dude. Don't get me wrong. But I'm starting to wonder, because this is a job, they're not very patient with their coaches. And this is a job, I'm wondering if it's too big for him for being a first-time head coach. And I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to compare it to Mike Davis when he took over Indiana after Bob Knight. Yeah, Mike Davis got them to the national championship in 2002. But the fans, even though the fans have embraced Freeman, I think pretty good, but the fans never really embraced Davis. And it was the easy hire at the time. The players liked him. He knew the system, knew the culture. Boom. Starting to wonder if that was kind of the case. If they had a month to 2 month time window, if he would have been hired back a few years ago when he was.
It almost seems like it's easier to hire a coach when you fire your previous one, because there's been so many times where a coach has left and then they've just promoted from within, and sometimes it's a disaster.
Look what's going on in Michigan. I
which is
don't know if
yeah. I mean,
how that's going.
it's only two official games.
You're right. You're right.
But they didn't look great against Fresno State. I know they lost a ton of talent to the NFL.
Yes.
But
And Connor Stallions.
And Connor Stallions. They're probably their best player, honestly, Connor Stallions. But and then we're seeing it at Notre Dame too.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, and I know they're getting upset. They should probably wait it out because honestly, on paper, still they could easily run the table and get to the playoff.
Well,
I think they could get into the playoff with 2 losses though, and you can't lose to a Northern Illinois.
Well, and they could still get in the playoff with 2 losses. I think it'd be 50-50 depending on who they lose the other game to.
Right.
And
depending on how Northern Illinois finishes too, because Northern Illinois could go 12-0. Who knows?
Yeah,
or 11-1. Or they could go 4-8.
Yeah. 2-10. But yeah, we'll see. But it is interesting. Notre Dame's one of 5 teams who has not had a passing touchdown yet. I almost guarantee you that'll change this week. But we will see. It's I was up in the Notre Dame area today at two of the branches for the bank I work for, and it was interesting because there's a lot of Notre Dame fans in those branches, and especially when I walk in and they know who I like and who they're playing. So it was interesting to kind of get the mood, the sense for the mood up there. But I don't think it's panic time for Notre Dame yet, but but they're nervous. They're nervous. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. They're a lot more nervous going into this Saturday's game than they were before last week's game.
Right. Well, yeah. And I mean, you definitely don't want to lose 2 in a row.
No.
And now they have to go on the road again for the second time in 3 weeks. And once they have a few drives where they don't score, they'll probably that doubt will creep in their mind. Oh, here we go again.
Or if Purdue can punch them in the mouth and get a lead early,
and
make them play from behind on their heels a little bit. And it is Notre Dame's second road game already, but they only have one more after this one true road game all year. That's USC, last game of the year. So they have 2 neutrals against against Navy and Army. All the rest though are home games. So yeah. It will definitely be interesting.
That's one. I mean, Notre Dame's been ranked in the top 10 every year. It feels like.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I can't name another top 10 team that has lost to a team like Northern Illinois. Georgia doesn't do it. Ohio State never does it.
Alabama doesn't do it.
Alabama doesn't do it.
No. The only one, Michigan in 07. I mean, I was talking to a guy today, and I brought up the point. You got to remember these are college kids. 18 to 22, while in some cases it's like 26, 27, 28, 29. Nowadays college sports landscape. But, all week they were told by the press how good they were. On paper, they're going to cakewalk to the playoff. Told on campus how good they are. So they probably went into the mentality, well, this is going to be a cakewalk. We're just going to walk all over these guys. Northern Illinois, huge opportunity for them. They're already getting paid $1.4 million to go play at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys weren't recruited by Notre Dame or any other school close to that level. And they kind of have a vendetta out there. And, Notre Dame didn't take care of business early when they could have. I mean, they looked great on their first drive, scoring right out of the gate. But they let Northern Illinois, even though it was a pretty lucky pass to get through the defenders, but Northern Illinois scores a long touchdown and let them hang around long enough. And this is the stuff that happens in college football.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I was thinking today, of course, during the game, I'm like, do I really want a ticked off Notre Dame team coming into Purdue? By the end of the game, I didn't care. Yeah. I was rooting really hard for Northern Illinois. I would have rooted for any team in that situation, any ranked team to lose. I don't care who it is. And when it comes to college football, I root for Purdue. Besides that, I really don't care who it is. I root for upsets. So,
yeah. And you especially root against Notre Dame.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly think if Notre Dame and IU played, I would root for IU slightly.
That would be a strange feeling.
Which I do think at least originally they were, when the schedule was made, I know schedules change all the time. They're supposed to play coming up soon for the first time since like 1988. In one of these years coming up. So, and then the other team I would really have a tough time rooting for against Notre Dame, but I would do it as Colorado.
I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that much longer, honestly.
It felt weird rooting for Nebraska, but
yeah, it did.
Matt Rule knows how to coach. Deion Sanders does not. That's what it comes down to.
Deion, I mean, his son continues to throw his offensive line under the bus. He did it after the game. Said Dylan Raiola wasn't on his back all game. That make me not want to play. That make me not want to block for him. And he's honestly he's calling his dad out in a sense for just neglecting recruiting because they don't even go on the road recruiting. Nope. They don't do any of that stuff. It just pretty much shows that he's just there for this year until his sons are done.
Yep.
Travis Hunter's done, then he's out. He's bouncing.
But who's if they go 4-8 again, who's going to want them with that media circus around them? You know,
he runs his program like an NFL team because of his lack of recruitment. He doesn't go out and recruit at all. No NFL team's going to want that circus. No NFL team's going to want his son's circus either. Travis Hunter's at least good, and I think he's starting to get a little fed up with it as well.
Sure.
And he'll go in that top 10 likely. And then you have Deion pulling the whole. Yeah, we got about 6 teams on our list for Shedeur and Travis Hunter and even Shiloh, and we'll pull an Eli. And like you are not in a position to make those kind of calls. You continually are not putting your son first. You're putting yourself first. That's what's been happening this entire time, and it's I'm over it. I hope they lose out. I think it would be absolutely hilarious if they lost out.
Oh, if they lose on the road to Colorado State this weekend, who should have had them last year. It took overtime and shouldn't have won in overtime. You lose at Colorado State. I think you're going to start seeing. Oh, well, I will because my Twitter's full of Denver media and all sorts of people have jumped on the CU bandwagon. You're going to start seeing people get off the bandwagon and really start saying, okay, where's this thing going?
Yeah, I think there's Colorado fans and the rest of the country hates them. Like I haven't seen one non-Colorado fan not just hate on them. And, it was for their I almost said GM for their athletic director Rick George. I mean he tried to rejuvenate a program, and honestly, he rejuvenated the program.
Oh, he did big time.
By hiring Deion Sanders, and he Deion took over, a 3-9 team that no one talked about. Now he's coaching a 3-9 team that everyone's talking about. So he did his job in a sense. He just didn't win games. That's a tough football job, which it's gorgeous out there. I mean, you got so many things to do, and it's incredible that they haven't been able to have a consistent winner since the early 90s. And Deion's clearly not the guy. He's not a program builder. None of that. He's a front runner who's trying to pad stats for his son.
Yep. Thad Mooney here on Facebook letting us know that it's 2030, 2031 IU Notre Dame 2-year series.
Yeah, that'll be a weird rooting experience for you.
Yeah, and we'll see if that stays in. I would guess it would. I know there was talks. Purdue's AD came on and pretty much said, they are playing out the 6-year home and home series with Notre Dame starting this year. After that, he said he kind of hinted that probably not going to happen with the way college athletics are and the new Big Ten and everything. But a lot of these contracts, you're gonna not pay out, but you're gonna see through, I guess.
Who knows? It might be a conference game at that point.
It might be. Yeah. It might be. It's hard telling. A lot's changed in the last 3 years, let alone 5 to 10. So. But any other big thoughts or anything that you want to discuss around college football before we pick games? I know Iowa lost a stunner.
Yes,
Iowa State.
I was able to watch that one with my Iowa fan grandmother, and that was a pretty funny experience. Once again, they can't score points, and their defense choked too. So it doesn't break my heart to see Iowa struggle, and that's a bad loss. I know Iowa State's now ranked.
Campbell's kind of getting the juju going again, isn't he? There.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's so weird when he took over. They're terrible. I wouldn't even say he built them. He was like a flash in the pan first couple years, great. Couple lull years, and now it seems like it's starting to raise up a little bit. I don't know what's that about. But.
Well, the end of the year strong last year. I think they went 5-3 or 5-2 towards the end, and sometimes momentum can carry if you don't have a lot of roster turnover.
Yeah.
So, what else? Texas looked awesome. Mm-hmm. Michigan looked more like an 8-4 team to me on the field.
I think it's what we picked them to.
Around not 7-5 maybe even. But Texas looked awesome. Quinn Ewers looks like the real deal.
Yeah,
they just looked like a bunch of men the other day. What Oregon survived a scare from Boise State. I don't know what's going on out there.
That Boise running back might win the Heisman. He ran for 260 yards in week 1 against Georgia Southern and like 5 touchdowns.
I don't think they'd give it against a non-power 4 school. They'd give it to
I don't either, but he ran for over 200 yards against Oregon too. So
I know. But Oregon, I mean, they're getting wins. That's all that matters. But man, they might need to wake up soon. I mean, they do play the Civil War this week. They're on the road up in Corvallis, Oregon State. And I know Oregon State's not that good, and Oregon's a 16-point favorite, but still, it's a rivalry game. Yeah. Never know what might happen there. You won the college pick'em. One thing that helped you was Duke's double overtime win over Northwestern.
Northwestern's bad. They're back to what we thought they'd be.
Yep.
They were obviously very lucky. Yep. The Illini knocked off a ranked opponent.
Yes, big win for them.
It was their first. What did I see on Twitter? It was their first non-conference win against a ranked opponent since Arizona State. I was at that game. I want to say it was Arizona State. They were ranked like 24th. But
Osweiler.
Yeah, Brock Osweiler, Vontaze Burfict. Illinois had AJ Jenkins, Whitney Merciless. I think that was it. But yeah, and they're ranked 26th this week. I know a lot of people were talking about that on the tweeter. So they got the Chippewas this week. Should take a care of business. Then Bielema is halfway to a bowl already. Yeah, so pretty good start there. That was a huge win because I think that's the difference between making a bowl and not. I mean, it wasn't our preseason predictions. I had them winning that game, going 6-6. You had them losing that game and going 5-7.
Yep.
They look better than anticipated. Need to get the 8 wins though.
It is amazing the climb of Kansas football to where they were nothing a couple years ago. Now they're getting a field rush against them.
That was
no, I had no problem with it. I let kids have fun.
Yeah.
I'm nervous if Purdue upsets Notre Dame being 18th, that
they'll
students might rush the field. And I don't like that. Now, if Notre Dame was coming in 2-0, number 5 in the country, go for it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But in that same breath, they haven't beaten Notre Dame since 2007.
Yeah.
Haven't even hosted Notre Dame since 2013. So.
Yeah. I don't know. That was kind of cringy. And it's because it's Illinois football is why they did it. Now, I know they have a rule in the Orange Crush now that they're like, okay, we're too good to be rushing the court.
Hank Cruz had that for a long time.
So I think their last court rush, it was when they clinched the Big Ten title. So that made sense. But just beating a ranked opponent at home at basketball is not a big deal.
I think Purdue's last court storming I can recall was the 07-08 Baby Boiler season when they knocked off our number 11 Wisconsin. I've never seen it since. So
it's so tough to rush the court there though, because you got
to jump down too, and you got both sides. Yeah, but no, it's it's in now Purdue basketball. I mean, they're the national champion runner-ups.
Right,
you don't do that.
You don't rush the court.
You don't do that. So yep. Any other college football thoughts before we get into picking Big Ten games and top 25 games?
It's kind of a week, which it always seems like week 3 is kind of the week schedule week where, I mean, I think game day is going to South Carolina for the first time in like 12 years. Yeah, they play 10.
They whooped up on Kentucky.
Yeah. Beamer might be saving his job depending on how the rest of the season goes, but I know a lot of people were on his case last year.
It's funny. Stoops had Kentucky rolling before NIL became a legal thing, and since then they've taken steps backwards. It's kind of funny when everybody else can play by the same rules you've been playing by for a decade. So.
Yep. Yeah.
We got 13 college football games this week in the Big Ten, starting with number 4 Alabama, 16-point favorite on the road at Camp Randall. I thought this game was at Lambeau, but it's at Camp Randall against Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's been pretty uninspired so far. I know they're 2-0. Bama did struggle with South Florida a little bit, but give me Bama for 13. I'm putting all my chips on this one.
I got Bama for 8. I mean, I think they'll win. I think they'll win pretty convincingly, but there's just a couple I think are more no-brainers than that one.
Yeah.
Arkansas State at number 17, Michigan, who's a 23-point favorite, coming off a drumming that the score was closer than the game really was against Texas.
Give me Michigan for 10.
I'm right there with you. Wolverines for 10. Central Michigan at Illinois. Like you said, Illinois is knocking on the door to being ranked. Illinois is a 20-point favorite.
This is a classic letdown sort of game that would definitely happen under Lovey or Beckman or Ron Zook's watch. I don't know. Bielema was probably the best head coach they've had since the 80s, honestly. And it's
Who's
still
the
not
other
that good.
guy you forgot there? The 1 year dude. Cole.
Bill Cubitt.
Cubitt. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a disaster too. They went 5-7. They weren't terrible, but they weren't great. But people around that part call it the not ideal because
didn't he try to sue the university or something?
Yeah, so Josh Whitman got the athletic director job and fired him on his first day as athletic director and hired Lovey a few hours later. So it'd been in motion for a while.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of upset about that, but he was an older guy. Illinois for 9.
I got the line for 6. I think they'll take care of business. Nevada at Minnesota, who's a 16.5 point favorite, dominating win as it should have been over Rhode Island after that loss to North Carolina week 1.
Yeah, I'll give you Minnesota for 3.
I got the Gophers for 7. The Apple Cup, I believe this one's called. Washington at Washington State, or no, Washington State at Washington. Excuse me. Washington's a 4-point favorite.
Give me Washington for 4.
I'm taking the Cougars, Washington State for 1.
I think
they tried to make a statement like, hey, conferences, you should have taken us. We're us at Oregon State are left out in the dust. So extra chip on the shoulder, maybe. I don't know. I didn't want to go chalk. I got to do something to try to beat you this week. Prairie View A&M. Didn't even know they had a football program. At Michigan State, who had a nice road win at Maryland for them after a week 1 escape against Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. Give me Michigan State for 12.
I got them for 13. Yeah, they're not going to lose this one. Number 9, Oregon, 16-point favorite at Oregon State in the Civil War. We kind of were hitting on this earlier. And I like when teams can change conferences and still keep one of their big-time rivalries going.
Yeah, I agree. Give me Oregon for 5.
I got the Ducks for 5 as well. Number 18, Notre Dame, 10.5-point favorites. This line opened up at 16 originally. 10.5-point favorites at Purdue, 3:30 on CBS.
Place will be rocking. It'll be a sellout, obviously. There'll probably be a decent number of Notre Dame fans there as well. I'm anticipating Notre Dame bouncing back. I have Notre Dame for 6.
I got the Irish for 3. I think it'll be a good game. Should be a good game. Purdue's had an extra week to prep for Notre Dame. And on all honesty, I think they've had months to prep for Notre Dame because they probably didn't have to prep too much for Indiana State, except you really don't know what Notre Dame's going to show until that first game. We'll see how many guys Purdue has back that didn't play against Indiana State. 2 of them that I was hoping they'd have back. Both Georgia transfers, wide receiver C.J. Smith and cornerback Nyland Green. Ryan Walters wasn't optimistic they were going to play yet again this week, so that's kind of a bummer. But if Purdue wants to win this game, they got to get off to a fast start. Can't get too far behind against these guys. But I do have the Irish for 3. Hope I'm wrong because I have a nice alcoholic beverage bet with a family member in this game. So
no Wendy's bet this year?
No Wendy's bet. If he would have offered me, maybe I would have taken it. But you know what's sad about that, J-Man? I didn't even have to owe you anything for Notre Dame winning.
That's how confident
so
I was
sick
about
me
backfire.
running my yap about Purdue that like if Purdue beats Notre Dame, I'll pay for your Wendy's next 10 times. If it wasn't for Danny Hope timeout, then Purdue probably
I'd still be paying that off considering I had no money.
Troy at Iowa is a 22.5-point favorite.
Iowa for 7.
I got Iowa for 11. Interesting one here. Indiana, 2.5-point favorites on the road at the Rose Bowl. Indiana's in the Rose Bowl at UCLA. UCLA had a bye after escaping a road win at Hawaii. Indiana put up a program record-setting points, 77 against Western Illinois, who hasn't won a game since 2021.
Yeah, they're bad. This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. Give me Coach Siggs and the Hoosiers. I haven't watched either team. I just I've seen a lot on Twitter how people are buying the Indiana Hoosiers. At least
their fans aren't showing up to games yet.
They still aren't showing up to games yet.
Yep.
J-Man's Book It prediction of the week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com.
I also have the Hoosiers starting off 3-0, but only for 2 confident points. Did you say your points on that one?
1.
1. Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty close game.
Yeah.
Road environment, 3-hour time difference. It's tough, but
yeah. What time's that game start?
that's the NBC night game.
Oh,
7:30.
7:30 Eastern time. So they
Yeah,
shouldn't be
4:30.
too shouldn't be too lagged anyway.
Yep. So Eastern Illinois at Northwestern, no line on this game.
Yeah, EIU's bad. Northwestern's bad as well, but Northwestern for 11 should take
I got
care.
Northwestern for 9 because they should, but
yeah.
I don't know. Northern Iowa at Nebraska, also no line on this one.
Northern Iowa's a pretty good FCS program, have been for a while. Give me Nebraska for 8. I think they have a little bit of a letdown. And it's a little scary there for a couple.
They were pretty sloppy in the second half the other day. I know they won 28-10, but they didn't score any points second half, some turnovers. I got Nebraska for 12. I think it's really possible that they walked into Ross-Ade at the end of September 4-0 going into that game.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, Maryland, even after a loss to Michigan State, they are 2.5-point favorites at Virginia.
Virginia's 2-0. They were terrible last year and the year before. Give me Maryland for 2.
I'm taking Virginia for 4. So I'm going against the Big Ten in some of these
the home team
matchups. Yep. So I had a feeling you're going Maryland, so I wanted to go different there. So let's see if there's any intriguing top 25 games. Let me pull it up on my phone here. Good Friday night one. I like the Wildcats are going to win this one, J-Man. Number 20, Arizona at number 14, Kansas State, who's a 7-point favorite.
Give me Kansas State.
I'm taking Kansas State as well. Good close win for them against Tulane. Battle back when they were down most of the game on Saturday. Number 16, LSU at South Carolina. LSU's a 7-point favorite.
That's the game day game. Man, I really want to go against Brian Kelly, but give me LSU in that one.
I'm taking LSU as well. Weird start time of this one is 12:45 because it's an SEC network game. You wouldn't have guessed this was going to be a top 25 matchup in week 3. Number 24, Boston College, led by Bill O'Brien, at number 6, Missouri, who's a 16.5-point favorite.
Give me Missouri.
Yep, I think
that's one team no one's talking about, but top 6.
Does Ball State cover the 36.5-point spread at your number 10 Canes?
No.
No. Ball State barely defeated Missouri State. So,
yeah.
Number 5, Wake Forest, 23-point favorite. Excuse me. Number 5, Ole Miss, 2-0, 23-point favorite at Wake Forest. Ooh.
I was wondering, did something happen that I didn't know?
Wake Forest lost to Virginia by 1 at home last week.
Give me Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Handily.
Ole Miss rolls. Number 1, Georgia, 24-point favorites at Kentucky.
Georgia. I think they roll.
Yep. And that's it. All the rest of the top 25 games I think are going to be blowouts. Even I'm looking ahead to the next week. The next week after that, we have USC, Michigan, Utah, Oklahoma State. Besides that, though, nothing really. Tennessee, Oklahoma. That'll be a good one.
Once conference play starts up, though, we'll start seeing some better ones.
Now, I was told this by a coworker today. I haven't researched it enough, so I'm asking you if you know. So Baylor and Utah played this past weekend, right? And since it was scheduled so far in advance, even though they're in the same conference now, it didn't count as a conference game. Is that correct?
Oh, I have no idea.
That's what he was telling me, since it was scheduled years ago before Utah was part of the Big 12, that wasn't counting as a conference game.
That I would say it probably doesn't, because
That's
if it's
weird,
part of your non-conference, if your conference schedule is already set, that is weird though.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's an interesting wrinkle. I bet he's right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he'd make it up. I just didn't have time to verify. So,
before we moved on to the NFL, I have some pick 6 for you. We talked about a few of these guys already. I have 3 college players, 3 NFL players, starting with our old friend Ethan Hampton.
Ethan Hampton, what a stud, with the glove and all, the stash. I'll give it. He hung in there in the pocket, took some shots and made some throws. Of course, the running back was a dude the other day for Northern Illinois. But and I know our buddy Evan Webb's going to miss him on year 3 of our dynasty. As much trash as he talked about his noodle arm,
It seemed like all Hampton was starting to play better towards the end of his final year there too.
A lot more people are aware of Ethan Hampton today than they were last Monday.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And because of our good friend Evan Webb, I'd heard of him before Saturday.
Yes. Well before.
Before Saturday. Marcus Freeman.
Like I said, good dude. I don't think he'll get fired after this year unless they go like 6-6 or 7-5 or something. But if they don't make the playoff, and I've said this since before they played A&M, if they didn't make the playoff with the schedule, his seat's probably hot coming into next year. And I think that's more relevant now than ever before. And we'll see. But he does seem like one of the nicer ones in college football. And I could have told you that from working with him for a short time like I did in 2013 when he's part of a dumpster fire staff. And he could have left long before he did. And he stayed through clear to the end of 2016. So that staff was gone. So good for him.
Yeah. Riley Leonard.
Yeah, can make plays with his legs, but hasn't been a good start for him in Notre Dame. I know behind him they have a redshirt freshman quarterback and then a true freshman that has tons of hype. And a lot of Notre Dame fans are afraid the redshirt freshman will probably leave after this year and go somewhere else, assuming the true freshman beats him out for the job. So we'll see. I am afraid about his legs, making plays with legs against Purdue. But hopefully Purdue can get some pressure on him. Purdue likes to blitz a lot. So.
Dak Prescott.
Dude got paid. Good for him, but I think it's stupid by the Cowboys. They could have had that deal done in CeeDee Lamb way before they did one of them. Yeah. They took care of business, killed the Browns yesterday, which we'll talk about here momentarily. But, NFL, if you're just a little above average, you get paid handsomely right now. So good for quarterbacks, I guess.
Jamar Chase.
Dude didn't get paid yet, but, just play football and you'll get that contract. Yeah. And you hurt your team. You hurt your team yesterday by not being ready to play.
Yeah, and I know it's about injury issues and all of that, just getting hurt before he gets paid. So I get it, but he says he wants to make more than just one penny more than Justin Jefferson. He wants to blow him out.
Prove it on the field.
I don't think he's in the same stratosphere as Justin Jefferson anyway. I think he's a good receiver. He's not that level.
The Bengals are the poorest NFL team there is. Yeah. So
yeah. Last one here, Daniel Jones.
Oh boy, Danny Dimes, awful. He's terrible. New York, Drew Lock's not gonna get you anything either. They're awful. That was a horrible pick by me to pick the Vikings. Their uniforms were a disgrace. The uniforms, yeah, man. The Giants owner should go in and just clean house in the front office for letting Saquon walk to a division rival. Thank goodness he did. He got 30 points for my fantasy team. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I saw a stat today. Daniel Jones, since he signed his 4-year, $160 million or whatever it was contract, he has thrown more touchdowns to the opponent than to his Giants teammates.
Oh, that's bad.
3 pick-sixes and only 2 touchdowns.
I get why they did what they did at the time.
I don't.
Boy, they overpaid still, but
yeah.
The
year they went to the playoffs, he wasn't good. They was a very fortunate year, and I think they panicked.
They'll be drafting a quarterback next year, just like the Panthers.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for the Pick Six.
And that's the Pick Six segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Performa Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Performa Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815. 3 winners, 3 losers. We are back. Yes. Are we keeping the same format like we did last year? Once one's picked, you can't pick the other one?
Yeah.
All right, go. Lead us off there, J-Man.
My first winner, the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll tell you why. Traveled down, to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Last year ended poorly. It was a dumpster fire at the end of last year. I mean, they choked away the division, then got blown out by Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs. And so I haven't heard much hype around them this offseason. And they went in there and they played well. I didn't think Jalen Hurts played all that great. But picking up Saquon could be the difference for them because, they're a good team. So they're my first one.
I like that. I did not have them on my list, but I like that. My first one's New England Patriots. Killed me in our confidence picks I had the Bengals for 16, but I forgot how bad the Bengals are in the first 2 weeks of the season. Zach Taylor's 1-10 in week 1 and 2 games combined. It's not going to get any better for them this week at Arrowhead. But New England, they looked, for an offensive line, everybody's like, this offensive line is going to be terrible. They rushed for over 180 yards. The offensive line didn't look terrible yesterday. They did what they needed to do. Gerard Mayo's bringing some juice, and now they host a Seattle team with a chance to go 2-0 this week. So good win for the Patriots. I still don't think they're going to end up with a good record, but hey, they already have one more win than I predicted them in the playoff prediction. So good for them.
Yeah. My second winner is the Detroit Lions, finding a way to get her done last night. They had their best season of our lifetime last year, getting to the NFC Championship game. Could have a little bit of a down start to a season, especially facing old friend Matthew Stafford, and found a way to tie it late and then score a touchdown in overtime. So I think they're poised for another very good season there in Detroit.
Yep. One of my other winners, Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, they got all their contracts put behind them. They just put a thumping on Cleveland yesterday in a game. They were the underdogs. I'm not buying the Cowboys yet because they do this every year where they look good in the regular season, then just crap down their leg.
Yeah.
And one way to put it in the playoffs, but they looked pretty good yesterday.
Yeah. My last winner is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did not score a touchdown.
Boswell, baby. 5 field goals.
Yeah, Chris Boswell. He's been around for a long time now. And be interesting to see who they start this week. If Russell Dobbs, which cringe. He was inactive and he's still fully suited up. He is the most corny player in the NFL. And it's
what got me more than suiting up, because technically if Fields in the backup that day got hurt, he could come in as an inactive quarterback. He was their third string, but it was the eye black that got me over the dressing up.
Yeah, he's a dork. That's the best way I can put him. He's a dork. But heading back to Denver this week, it'll be interesting.
Please let him play. I just want to hear the fans' reaction. Please. Please.
But hey, they found a way to get it done against an Atlanta team that has high expectations coming in.
Man, my Super Bowl pick looks great after a week. Falcons over Bengals. I'm just right on top of things. Got my finger on the pulse. I got a lot of the teams listed here for my third, but I'm actually going to take the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Somehow, with their offense not doing anything, Caleb Williams not even throw for 100 yards, they get the W after being down 17. I know the Titans could be arguably the worst team in the league, but to get that W, you got to feel good coming out of that week with a win, because the last thing you want to do in the NFL after 2 weeks is start off 0-2, because then you're digging yourself in a hole.
Yeah, and Will Levis's interception that was turned for a touchdown had one of the best reactions I've ever seen from a quarterback. Did you see the picture?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I was watching when it happened. What was he doing? Trying to throw an underhand when you're going to the ground out of bounds. Just tuck in, take the sack. Oh, man.
It's their head coach today, Brian Callahan, said, we would have won this game if we punted on 1st and 10 every single time.
Bold strategy, but he might not be lying. That's something Tim Beckman would have said.
Yeah, I know. It takes a special level of choke to blow a 17-point lead without giving up an offensive touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, Bear fans went from doom as gloom, especially ones that like Notre Dame too. So at least you got the dub. Because NFL, who cares what it looks like? I wouldn't have cared as long as the Broncos got the dub yesterday how bad they played. But unfortunately, they didn't. And here we go. So,
yeah.
Yep. On to the losers. You want me to start this one?
Sure.
First loser for me is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, yep. They're on my list.
They were a half yard away from getting up 17 points. Travis Etienne fumbles. Next play, Tyreek Hill scores an 80-yard touchdown. Dolphins are off and running in the comeback trail. And big win for the Dolphins, a bad loss for the Jaguars. And that could haunt them for a while. Yeah, that's one of those games where Jags could have been like, hey, don't forget about us.
Right. Going up 17, Javon Holland saved the game for the Dogs because it was over. Etienne scores there, it's over.
Yeah.
And Javon Holland with a perfect peanut punch. Trevor Lawrence, I've talked so much trash about him, and he went 3 for 7 in the second half, took a couple sacks on their he took back-to-back sacks on their last drive that ultimately gave the Dolphins the ball to go down and win it. And he doesn't get the hate he probably deserves from the national media. That's all.
Because of where he plays.
That has something to do with it.
Yeah. So yeah, something to do with it.
My first loser is NFL offenses. I shared this to our group chat earlier. Let me pull it up here real quick. NFL teams average just 174.7 net passing yards and 293 total yards per game on Sunday. Both of those are the lowest on any NFL Sunday in the regular season in the last 20 years, since December of 2003. Quarterback plays bad. And it's been that way. I mean, we no longer have the Mannings and the Bradys and the Roethlisbergers and even the Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. And so you just don't have that. And the rookie quarterbacks didn't look great.
No, they did not.
And
Daniels ran well, but he didn't throw well.
He did.
They all looked like a deer in the headlights.
I'm pretty sure only one quarterback threw for 300 yards, and that was Tua. And over half of those yards came on 3 throws.
Yep.
So
that's explosive offense. So
it is. I wouldn't say he played all that great, even though he had 330 yards. But offense. And honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that guys aren't playing in preseason anymore.
Yeah,
and we're seeing them rusty in week 1. So
yeah, and the NFL goes in waves. Defenses catch up to offenses, then offensives get creative again with some newer nickels.
Right.
My second loser, it's a pretty easy one. The Cincinnati Bengals. I don't care if Chase was limited. I don't care if Higgins was out. It's a lot of this is Zach Taylor's fault. Probably he practiced them really hard because he was tired of losing, get off the bad starts, and then some guys get injured. And you got to get it done. You got to get it done. And they did have some turnovers. They had a turnover at the half-foot line too yesterday after Mike Gesicki's touchdown got overruled and the other tight end fumbles. So they had some bad luck go their way, but you got to take care of business. Now you're staring down the barrel at 0-2 start again.
My second loser, Carolina Panthers.
They're terrible.
They're the worst team in the NFL once again.
Awful.
David Tepper is the worst owner, maybe in sports.
He's the new Daniel Snyder.
He is. Bryce Young threw an interception on his first throw of the season, and then in the second half threw an interception on the second throw of the second half.
Yep.
They chose the wrong guy. It's very clear. And,
the whole organization wanted Stroud except the owner.
Yeah. So once owners meddling in football decisions, personnel decisions, never goes well.
Yep. My last loser, the Cleveland Browns. They need a new quarterback.
Yeah, they're better with Joe Flacco.
The Russell Wilson deal was bad. Deshaun Watson deal just as bad.
I would venture to say it's worse.
Yeah, because he does have a lot of off-field issues come with him.
Yeah, which Russ does not. My last loser, we talked about him a lot so far, New York Giants. Bad quarterback. I think Dable's a really good offensive coordinator. I don't know if he's a good head coach. Yep. It's ugly. It's ugly there already.
Yep. Yes, it is. Let's get into our picks. One that's got your attention, a good Thursday night matchup this week in division rivalry, Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. And it looks like J-Man froze on my end. Oh, I got you.
I know why they did this matchup, because Thursday night games have been so bad for so long. I'm frozen.
I got you now.
I'm back.
Yep. Looks like we're having technical difficulties. I don't know if that's on my end or Josh's end. I am not seeing Josh. I'm just seeing and it looks like it's on Josh's end. I will hurry up with my pick here while we're waiting for the J-Man. I'm going with the Bills for 6. I know it's a road game, but I thought Josh Allen played well yesterday. Bills were able to fight off a surge. Sean Surge to start the game from the Arizona Cardinals. I just think the Bills get this one done. I'm going with the Bills for 6. And I got J-Man back here. All right, got you back.
I'm back.
Yep. I'm taking Bills for 6.
Yeah. Give me the Bills for 2. Until the Dolphins beat them, I'm not picking the Dolphins.
That's fair. New Orleans at Dallas.
Are you guys on the internet?
I am taking Dallas for 10 here. I think the Cowboys take care of business, even though Saints had a good win, dominating win over the Panthers yesterday. I like Dallas to roll in this one. Moving on. Once I get Josh, I'll get back Josh on screen. I'll get back to his pick, but I gotta kind of fly through these. Tampa Bay and Detroit, I think, has got the potential to be the best game of the weekend. I'm taking the Lions for 1 in that one. Indianapolis at Green Bay, intriguing there since Jordan Love unfortunately got hurt for 3 to 4 weeks. So Malik Willis is the guy there in Green Bay. I'm taking the Colts for 3 in that one, even though outside of 2 or 3 bombs, I didn't think Anthony Richardson looked all that great. So give me the Colts on that one. New York Jets at Tennessee Titans. I wish I could make this pick after seeing the Jets tonight against San Francisco, but I'm taking the Jets for 11 in that one. All right, J-Man is back.
It working? We'll see.
Yes,
if it
I got
works.
you. I got you back. Rattle off your picks for New Orleans at Dallas, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Indy at Green Bay, please.
Dallas for 11, Detroit for 6, Indianapolis for 1 with no Jordan Love.
All right, and to catch you up, I went Dallas for 10, Detroit for 1, Indianapolis for 3, and I just went the Jets for 11 at Tennessee.
Jets for 10.
Jets for 10. San Francisco at Minnesota. I'm rolling with the Niners for 13.
I have the Niners for 9.
Seattle at New England. I still don't think Seattle's a very good team, so I'm taking the Patriots for 4. And it looks like Josh is having technical difficulties again. So I'm taking the Patriots for 4 at home against Seattle. Giants at Commanders. I'm taking the Commanders for 9. Chargers at. All right, we got J-Man back again. Hit me with Seattle at New England.
I'm just gonna rattle them off real quick.
All right.
I got Seattle for 3, Washington for 5, Chargers for 16.
I got Chargers for 16.
Jacksonville for 7.
Jacksonville for 8.
Okay. Baltimore for 15.
Baltimore for 15 as well. Rams at Cardinals. I got Rams for 7. Pittsburgh at Denver. I got Pittsburgh for 2. I'm hopeful, but
Pittsburgh's
scared.
Yeah. I have Pittsburgh for 4.
I got Kansas City for 14 over the Bengals.
I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs for 13.
I got the Texans for 12 over the Bears.
I have the Texans for 12. And I have Philadelphia for 8.
I got Philadelphia for 5. So we agree on a lot of
If anyone can still hear me. I don't even know if people can hear me.
I got you. I can hear you. J-Man. I'm guessing you can't hear me, though. Can you hear me?
My answer to the trivia question is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It is not the Pittsburgh Steelers, my friend. I don't know if you can hear me, but it is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills. We'll see if they can keep that streak going against your Miami Dolphins. But that is going to do it for tonight's J-Man Show, episode 408. One unlike any other. Evan Webb and J-Man back 409. Have a great week, everybody. Catch you later.